So I guess we're calling this part 3 of the Walmart HP 2000 369 WM Walmart special with a lot of trackpad wear. Anyway, no problem there. We can live with it. It's earned it. It's earned its wear and tear. So yeah, this is the part at which this is the part at which we're going to look at the benchmarks and get kind of a read on that. And you know, if that's not your thing, no worries. You got another couple videos regarding this one and the outside of it and stuff like that you can look at. But for this one, we are going to take a look at this because this is how I can keep track of these things. I can look back at these videos and know what each of these systems has, how it scores, all that stuff. So here's your basic Windows info. So it is running your Windows 7 Home Premium. This is the original, not the original, but the factory restored original OS. And that's how I found out about the quick web, which I featured in my last video. So this one is running an AMD E450 APU, which was the AMD way of saying it's got an integrated graphics with the CPU. And yeah, it's 64-bit, which is nice. Got a couple cores, we'll look at that. And it has 4 gigabytes of RAM, which it can fully utilize with a 64-bit operating system. Let's go into the Windows experience. And let's find out, are you experienced? You are, and here it is. So 3.9, which is the actual CPU, is scoring the lowest, which, you know, is like a flip-flop for when you compare it to Intel, which it's always the graphics. In this case, the graphics is scoring kind of mid-range to high. So not bad. The CPU is going to be the weak point, as we can see. Talking about the graphics, let's take a little deeper dive into them. So what do we see here about the graphics? Well, it's an ATI integrated graphics connected to that chip. The AMD APU, what do they call it? Something like that. Their fancy terminology. Yeah, there you go. So it identifies it as a Radeon HD 6320 graphics with dedicated 384 megabytes of RAM, sharing some of the system memory for close to 2 gig of RAM use. So that's pretty good, actually, in my opinion. For what it is, we'll find out how it does, though. That proof is in the pudding. We'll see how it runs that NovaBench. All right, there's our screen dimensions. So quite workable, I think, for my usage. All right, let's get into that. And we want, before we do any kind of testing, I do always like to point out that the graphics driver is installed and we're not seeing any indicators that we are missing anything. So because this was a factory reinstall, I didn't have to worry about too much about finding drivers and stuff like that. Let's get into it here. This is the we're going to call it CPU. It's kind of a combo CPU Radeon graphics chip. 2 cores, 2 threads. The board, here you go. The BIOS 2011. It is a 2011 system. That was when this CPU processor was released. It's recognizing the 4 gigabytes of RAM running at 666. Actually, it's 676. We'll have to see what that's about. Let's see if we can find any information about the chip memory. There we go. It's a 1 chipper. So is it running single channel? Yeah, it probably is because it doesn't say. So it looks like it's a single chipper And yeah, there you go. That's the info about that particular chip. 2012. That's interesting. A little later than I expected. So I guess it would be falling somewhere in the middle. Oh, it's a low energy one. I see it's running at 135, so it's one of those DDRL things, I think. Anyway, there you go. Micron. Probably the original, I would think. I don't know. What does it say? Does it tell me anything about the RAM in here? Nope. I don't know. Probably. I could see that being realistic. And there you go. There's the core, memory, da-da-da. So, a summary. Let's take a look at the temps. It doesn't want to tell us much about the temps because, you know, AMD, don't advertise what your system's running at because it could be very hot. Yeah, the graphics aren't terrible for temperature, but not cool by any means for doing nothing. But there you go. That's that. Is there something on the screen? I think I see something. There's something. There's something. There's a mark on the screen. Is it damaged? Could be. Oh yeah, I can feel something here. So they've probably been dinged at some point. So there you go. 40 nanometer process on the chip, which fairly large chip, so could be generating some heat for sure. There you go. That's it for the summary. Not much else we can get from that. And last but not least, we want to zoom in on the old hard drive, half a terabyte, which ain't bad at all. And I'm looking at some low hours, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, well under a year. That's really great. Yeah, people didn't use their systems very long. Either that or they replaced it. I don't know. Hard to know. But it's running at the right temperature. It's reporting a good status. We are good to go. As you can see, there's actually a C, D, and E drive because one's a set of tools that HP installed, and which probably runs that quick web thing that we looked at in the last video. And one of them is a recovery drive, and C is obviously the operating system drive. Here we go. Let's get a NovaBench score. Be interesting to see how this thing does overall, because what I find interesting about this is it is running an odd chip with a kind of a low scoring CPU from what Windows 7 is reporting. We'll find out. Do I have any predictions? I would like to see 300 at least. I would love to see 300 as an overall score for this system. But I have no real, that's just like a random off the top of my head guess. 2011, 300, excuse me, as a score on this NovaBench is probably decent. We'll see. What I do like to see is those kinds of scores, FPS. So yeah, they really, AMD is really focused on being a graphics company, really, as I've said before. And the rate speeds look okay on the hard drive. And what do we got? The moment of truth, a blank screen. Oh, there we go. Oh, hey, so my guess was pretty close. It's a little under 300. Yeah, I always focus in on the graphics because that's usually such a weak point. At 178 FPS, it's certainly quite doable for some basic gaming. Otherwise, the CPU is really the weak point at 120, but probably get the job done. And the RAM seems to be performing about what I'd expect. So yeah, there you go, guys. So interesting. This is an interesting Walmart special. They obviously tried to find the right price point and performance. And honestly, when I look at what is out there right now in the retail market, when I was just looking at like the ultra cheap computers out there. I'll be honest with you, I think that something like this is far better value compared to what I'm seeing out in the retail space now for inexpensive computers. I mean, yeah, you can get like a computer for something like $200 to $300 Canadian, but it isn't. It's e-waste right out of the box. It really is. This would have kept you going for quite a while with the performance and features that this thing had. Obviously, it's long in the tooth, but one of the interesting things about it, this thing still has a working battery. Yeah, you heard me right, a working battery. And it's fully charged, and I've used it. That's how I discovered, of course, about this weird funky little button for starting up the quick web thing. Yeah, it has a working battery, which is nice. Without a working battery, you can't even upgrade the BIOS in most of your systems. So, you know, come on, this is good. This is good. There you go, guys. That's it. Enough rambling about this one. I guess this is part 3 of this particular focus on this laptop. A surprise. One of those things I brought home from the thrift store, not expecting much, and being pleasantly surprised with a unique sort of startup web-based sort of low power system. And yeah, very interesting. Like I say, it's got a little wear and tear, but you know, like I say, with most of my systems, I feel like they earned that look. I'm not looking for a perfectly, you know, 2025 system. I'm looking for something that looks like a little bit of a classic. Not 19 nothing, but I don't buy 1990s systems. Yeah, but the lowest I like to go, I like to try and stay in the mid-range of the 2000s, like maybe 2007. I have a couple 2005 systems. I don't want to go much past that because anything older than that is just not going to cut it. Anyway, guys, I hope you're having a great Tuesday, December the 2nd. And yeah, this is my second video today, but I thought I'd just wrap it up for this one. And I will talk to you in the next video. Have a great day, guys. Bye.